What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking in Bits, where we walk you through Bitcoin bit by bit so we can provide you with the information you need to succeed and persist. Back with episode 26. We took a week off, but it was lovely. What's up, Ben?
What's going on, bro?
Got Ben here as always. Everything's good, man.
How was the trip?
It was good, but like I told you, I was in Bitcoin and out of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's been going on. The listeners are going to have to rely on what you saw going on and what you were observing.
$3.6 billion.
You want to start with them?
Gone.
You want to start with them? What's that?
Yeah, a South African exchange owners disappeared with $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin. So that means if you leave your Bitcoin on an exchange or any platform, again, it's like leaving it. It's like a hot debit account, right? A hot bank account. And if the owners disappear, so does your money.
Did you say it was just brothers? It was just like a small company?
I believe they're brothers. I don't know much about the company.
Yeah.
The feds are involved in all this. And it's like, what do you do if you're a customer and you just lost 5 Bitcoin, 20 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin?
Yeah, I don't know, but
Bro.
they must, I don't know the landscape over there.
Yeah.
I'm sure they know what cold storage is. I'm sure they know what keys are, but maybe the education that's getting to them or the research that's getting to them is not as accurate for them to understand the not your keys, not your cheese concept.
Yeah, I feel like, I think about my circle of friends or people that I know, who treat Bitcoin like a quote unquote stock, and they just leave their money on exchanges. They still probably don't even know about cold storage.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think there's a percentage of a population that's like, they don't even know what it is. They don't know the importance of it.
I guess you got to want to not lose it to care about securing it.
Yeah, or just want to know about education.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Once you get educated is when you realize, I can't lose this. I don't want to lose. And then, you're going to figure, the next obvious question is, well, how the hell do I keep it safe? Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of false information out there. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Yep. I don't know anything about this African exchange, but I guess this is Mt. Gox. I guess this is all these. I mean, and the older Bitcoiners have seen this a bunch of times. I only remember the most famous one, which is Mt. Gox, but it's known.
Yeah.
But then again, a lot of people still use BlockFi. So a lot of people see strength in services. And all these companies have to do is provide a service. And there's people that are going to be willing to do it, sometimes at the expense of their own Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But I've heard the argument, and you tell me what you think about this one. I've heard the argument where people say is, I don't trust myself with my own keys. I'd rather trust the company.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Think about, I can think of a handful of people right now where if I say, hey, log into this important account, they're going to say they don't know the password.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go through 4 different passwords and email resets. And they can't even handle an email that has a reset button. So never mind a Bitcoin vault with a 1 key. Yeah. And you can't get it wrong. And there is no password hint. There is no, we're going to reset this to your email.
Right. No customer support.
And they're locked out of their wealth forever.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. And so what do? They have to bother someone that they know that's like Jose. Yeah. Right. Who can, be a tech person for them, and that's an inconvenience. So
it is, but it's better.
No, it is. Yeah. It is better.
I know what you mean, though. But it's unrealistic. Yeah,
that's the issue. And so, when does Apple and Samsung roll out, wallets on phones? Yeah. And
when do you trust them?
Device? When do you trust them? What if they say, hey, we're going to give you a Bitcoin cold storage, and it's going to be a device that just kind of has like a retina scanner, it'll scan your eyes or it'll scan your thumbprint. And then they'll take, encrypted access of your key, right? They'll keep that for you, and it can only be unlocked by retina or by fingerprint. Yeah, so at what point does Apple kind of do that, where fingerprint access or eye scan access gives you your seed phrase?
Yeah, soon.
You think that'll happen?
I think, yeah. I mean, these companies know that they can't be behind on the train. So in that example, Samsung knows that they can't be late to the Apple game. Apple knows that if Samsung does it first, they'll be late to the game. Although Apple's a little different. And the reason I paused there is because Apple likes to wait to see people fuck it up a lot. And then they make it perfect.
Coming with the cure. Yeah.
Oh, they come in perfect. All their services are just incredible. So that's the one thing that I would say is a game changer, is that they're going to come in, but whoever does it first is going to get most attention. Yeah. And it's going to be soon. And it's the same thing, though. Nobody trusts Google, be honest. I don't trust any of them, but Google's the one that gets picked on the most. Yeah. Because they know the most about you, technically.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Are you going to get your Pixel phone and be like, oh, listen, man, I'm going to hold my cold storage here because I have a cool wallet that I could put my finger in the back of the phone? No. I hope not, because it's the same thing as leaving it. Imagine BlockFi coming out tomorrow and say, hey, we got a phone. You guys can pick it up. Come on, man. I don't want to do that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I always get caught in this weird situation, which is, I call it the, just for the fun for the listener, let's call it the parabolic situation, right? I have this weird thing where it's like, I respect money getters. I do. But I also respect virtue a lot more than money getting. And it's weird because sometimes I'm like, oh, I fuck with what he's doing. That's dope. And sometimes I'm like, this motherfucker is just dumping on the regular person and trying to play it off like he's doing that. And I think that stops me from trusting Samsung, trusting Apple. Most people, on the other hand, want the solution. They want the parabolic saying that this is possible and you can do this and that. And when it comes to equipment, they want the trusted iPhone that can unlock the wallet and do it very easily. I'm cool with them companies, and it will happen, doing hot wallets, but I won't trust them with
cold storage.
I just don't think it's right. Unless they open source it.
I mean, I barely trust my cell phone with like my search history and other stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm using a VPN and I'm using DuckDuckGo as a browser because I don't want to be targeted, you know what I mean? And I don't want information shared, so.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I mean. So as for people trying to get, not wanting to learn cold storage and trust like an exchange, I mean, technically they do that anyways because they trust their dollars in the stock market, or they trust. So I get it, but I guess that's where you have to do your homework and find out that this is just not like your dollar, and you don't want every person to have it. We're getting reception here, but yeah, man, I don't know how I feel about the argument. Besides, well, I do know how I feel, which is you got to get cold storage. I have no way around that for you. I can't teach it to you in any other way. You just have to figure it out and be interested enough to know that. Become your own bank, become sovereign, and for the first time in your life, whether you're an older person or a younger person, you're going to take full control of the situation. And if you lock yourself out, it's kind of, I guess it's on you. Use your error, right? But there's multi-sigs and certain versions that can kind of like spread out your chances of fucking up. Yeah. I would observe that before I say, hey, publicly traded company or about to be publicly traded company, here's my life savings and the most rarest thing of all time. You understand human greed for 1 second. Understand human greed. You talked about those brothers in Africa. Imagine if, we get to the point where Bitcoin is no longer available. 21 million, BlockFi still exists, great company. Imagine that. How many people have their Bitcoin in there? Now, as business owners, you would have all the pressure in the world to say, wow, we can just take off with this and they can't make any more of it. We'll be gods if we hold this stuff.
Crazy.
Imagine that.
It's the year 2141.
That's why I would not give that ability to anybody. That's like handing over your energy, your stored energy. That's just giving it away for free. Even if they are ethical and they stand to their word all the way to the end. If it's not open source, if I can't read the code.
Or like, what if they get got? You know what I mean?
Man,
there's that, or even like the political blackmail.
I don't even want to give them that benefit of the doubt. I just think people are nasty.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I'm just saying there's that issue, and then there's all these other issues. What about the blackmail issue? Imagine like someone works at security at whatever company, and they get blackmailed in give me the Bitcoin that I know you have access to. Like,
all those trap doors.
I'm straight, bro.
And you can save yourself from all that by taking. All right, let's be on a high count.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 hours to learn cold storage.
Not even, bro.
I don't think so. Right. These companies have made it dope.
It's so with setting mine up. I mean, I had your help, but 10 minutes, it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. Like a 15 minutes.
I think people overthink it a lot. I do. Yeah. I do. Somebody was asking me about Cold Card today, and I was just like, man, there's a lot of videos out there. Like, I don't YouTube. Even. It's not. Well, just anywhere. Even Cold Card's website. Like they kind of run through all different softwares you can use. So it's like. It really just depends on if you're willing to put in the time to learn this thing. But if you learn it once, it's like the training wheels come off. You flying. So go cold storage. You'll relieve yourself of a headache.
I told my boy who has a good amount of coin with BlockFi, and he was like, I think he already has a ledger. Yeah. And he was like, oh, you're trying to remind me that I should kind of get on this, huh? Yeah. I was like, yeah, bro.
Yeah. And you don't want it to cost them a big price because everybody learns at a certain point in time. Right. But I just don't like their business model. We did have it as a topic here. You guys have noticed over time. We're going to put the nail in BlockFi. If we ever requested BlockFi to you in the past, we will stop doing so. And that was very early on in this podcast anyways. We've seen a while ago what was coming. And, I didn't lose any coin. You didn't lose any coin. But, the writing's on the wall. You would be oblivious to see a company change their policy, 4 months in a row going now?
To be fair, so like I've listened to other podcasts, Marty Bent and all these other people, and how an entity like BlockFi makes money is through leveraging your Bitcoin and dealing with shares and all this stuff. And so if there was a really high demand for cash to be loaned out and Bitcoin to be leveraged, the interest rates would be higher.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people are lending their Bitcoin with them.
Yeah.
And that people are requesting it because the supply demand and the rates aren't there. So rates are, when we were recommending it, you could get 6% on up to a Bitcoin.
They changed it 3%.
No. Okay, yeah.
So we're down to 4.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And so when we started, it was 6, and it was 6 is almost 8. I think for lesser amounts there might have been more, but I know that the rates keep declining, and as I've seen on Twitter, people are like, hey, why would I give an asset that grows 200% to someone and they're only going to give me 6% on top of it?
The rarest thing of all time. Not Ethereum, not any of the other stuff. We're talking about, you're giving me a shitty-ass interest rate on something that you can't even make more of. Never mind giving it back to me. You can't even make it. It's just shitty practices, man. And listen, I see early Coinbase. They introduced 3 new shitcoins. Listen, I get it. It's not for me. I get it. This goes back to the not a conundrum, because I don't feel no empathy for those people, but I get it. You could flip. I get it. You get interest. I get it. There's other coins. You could make a lot of money, blah, 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 blah. I'm not playing that game, though. Yeah. So you lost me when you start telling me a few months ago they were you remember that January, February Bitcoin wave where it started to really pick up? Yeah. BlockFi was always in there being like, yo, we did. You're showing your true colors. You're showing true colors. When the price went down, you chased the money back. Yeah. It's obvious. I don't need to make that up. You don't need to take my word for it. Just see their actions. Just see what they've done since the price has continued to plummet. And you're going to be like, oh, listen, I'm good. Because a company that really cares about your Bitcoin should probably be focused just on Bitcoin. Yeah. That's what makes the code card so incredible. You can't load any other fucking coin into it. Right. Because they don't care about any other fucking coin. And the device is just magical. It's just a really good device. The Ledger is a really awesome device, but you're selling me double the price of your regular one to give me a bunch of shitcoin wallets. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't need that. That's gone. Yeah. So it's just, if you focus...
I think it has Bluetooth too. I think that might be a difference. It's so I was working on a transaction, and it was like, hey, turn on Bluetooth. I was like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
I
think that could be easily intercepted.
Probably.
But once again, these companies are doing what they want. They have their following. They have their fans. They have their people. I bet you there's people that would listen to this right now but BlockFi does this. Fantastic. It's not for me. I was never really deep into it anyways or whatever, but very early on, I was like, why not get interest if I'm holding?
Absolutely. But or even get interest on cash.
Sure, yeah. I was stable. Well, I like the dry gunpowder. I like the fact that I could just buy some dips every now and then. Yeah. Even though the prices are higher on BlockFi. Mm-hmm. Surprise, huh? So you got all this leverage on my coin, and I'm paying more for my coin. Isn't that interesting?
It's like Robinhood. You pay extra. You pay the premium on stocks. Apps do that, man. I
don't use that. Yeah.
Free apps do that stuff.
It's business models. They have to make money. And once again, I respect it because whatever. But I like to feel, at least, I'm a more virtuous person. And to me, it's like, give me enough to eat and do the basics and let me be virtuous, as opposed to I got to go so far and expend myself and get away from my virtues in order to continue this trend of getting fiat, which is at the end of the day, as we circle around, what if, I don't think they have, but what if a BlockFi article comes out that says something about money, something fiat related, and then you're like, oh, well, we're Bitcoin related. And it's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. Now you're playing both sides of the fence, as opposed to a Bitcoin company that's like, hey, we're going to get 10% of our assets and throw them into... That's a Bitcoin move, as opposed to another company that's chasing fiat. And they're basically like, hey, whatever it takes. We'll cut whatever neck we want. We'll ride whatever rate we want. Yeah. Hey, make your money. Be virtuous. If you can do both, fantastic. But I think it's a very rare thing to be able to be virtuous and make a lot of money at the same time. Because I think in order to be filthy rich, I think you have to be unvirtuous for the most part, in my opinion. What do you think about
that? Yeah, I'm thinking of one of my favorite artists has a lyric where he's talking about money comes with a price.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And I think in the song he was talking about a stripper or something. Yeah. And it was money comes with a price.
You get lost in it, is my point. And is what that line sounds like. And it's like, you could get it forever. But you can't get the small things back. You can't get the virtuous things back. Absolutely. And I think that's the big part. And that's why Bitcoin is so easy for me to understand, because it's like, I'm just getting this while I live. I don't have to do anything to bend over backwards for it, right?
Yeah.
I live. Yeah, I want to be above my means, right? So I can have a little bit more comfort. But if I'm going to lose myself in order to get to a point that doesn't matter, because, you know, there's always the lonely wife. There's always the kids that get outsourced to do whatever. And that's because you don't have that time. Like you said, you just kind of, it comes at a cost, like you said. Yeah, man, I appreciate the money makers like the Parabolics, just to keep bringing it up because he's awesome and whatever, et cetera. But to me, that doesn't signal me. That's a lot of noise, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard.
I think it's, and you mentioned it too, just his online persona. Like these people have online personas that they have
also
to, even like sometimes I'll be ready to tweet something and I'm like, no, I'm not going to say that because it seems like someone else's online persona. It's like this Bitcoin Twitter talk. That turns into retweets and likes and engagement.
I bet you in real life he's a fantastic individual.
Yeah, I got to chat with him for like 20 minutes. Super cool, dude.
Awesome, dude. I bet.
You know what I mean?
See?
Like we were talking about that job that he was looking for, like a content creator and stuff.
Yeah, right. I remember that.
Yeah, man. And again, people have that online persona.
That's tough, though, man. So like, how do I, the average guy, get to see you?
Yeah.
Right. So I can look up to you. I'm not trying to see you to hang out with you. I'm just saying, like, if I could get past, I guess, the charlatan-y stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or the persona. Let's do it that, because charlatan is not the word.
Sure.
Persona. Damn it. Like, I would respect you a lot more if I could somehow find a way. Go out your way to kind of let people know you, right?
Got to read his book. I guess that's the way.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't know. Twitter Clubhouse. But even still, it's probably the same.
I've heard him on Clubhouse. He's pretty average on Clubhouse, yeah. But I don't know. You're right. Maybe the book is fantastic. I haven't read the book or whatever. But once again, like you... I
don't know a way around it.
He doesn't have to, right? But like, if you really want to, you know, he's big for plebs. He's big for... If you really want to stand by that, the persona, the virtue, right? The persona got to get put to the side when it needs to get put to the side.
For sure.
But who the fuck am I? That's fair too. Like I'm okay with that. But I think about these things sometimes back and forth because it's like some people you just really want to respect a lot, and then you just can't.
Yeah.
Not because you have anything against them, but because it doesn't line up. Yeah. Right? It's like you're playing, and maybe it's the persona, but you're playing. You don't owe me shit. You don't got to be nothing that you not or whatever, or you could be whatever you want. You making the bags and I'm not. But I would pass on the bag every single time if I could just be myself, 1,000%. So. Let's see what other topics we got here, man. We flying along. I always told you we freestyle stuff anyways.
No, we go.
China miners?
China miners, man.
Like, what's up?
So how many miners have left China?
I don't know. I saw some pictures, though, and it was like warehouses.
Fam.
Yeah. A lot of hash. I don't even know.
There's a lot of mining threads. One of them had said that they had disconnected like some crazy number, like 50,000 units in like 3 days or something.
By the way, shout out to Bitcoin security because understand that all that is securing your gold. But yeah, man, I saw some pictures that were like warehouses full of just like S9s and different types of miners, and they were doing it big. I also heard a lot of stories. I don't remember the sources, but they popped up while I was out there that they were like airdropping, what's the headline, miners into Texas, and they were coming into Texas to kind of pick that back up. Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't know much about, I know it's censorship in China, but I don't know much about the nitty gritty of it. But I will say it's fantastic for us, American miners.
Great for us. Well, what's going on in China is they're going to create basically the CCP coin.
Right.
It's going to be their digital currency. It'll probably have an expiration date on it. And the government will literally know exactly. I mean, with credit cards and debit cards, they already have a paper trail. You can still get around it with cash and other means.
Yeah.
But when your country says, we're going to give you our own currency, it's going to have an expiration date, and they're literally going to be able to see everything in a place that already has so much, basically, video cameras everywhere that you can't go off grid for more than like 2 seconds.
Right. And force an economy.
And you need to scan your face to get in and out of buildings, regular buildings.
That's probably already happening. But
and there's a social credit score where they know you're a liar if you lie in your text messages.
So China censorship.
They know if you're cheating on your wife through your messages through your phone.
Potentially coming to a government near you.
And that dictates your credit score. And now they're going to literally control your money.
Yeah.
And they're forcing Bitcoin out of the country. And so
that's a forced economy, though.
Bro.
Yeah.
Senators here are like, listen, China has made a grave mistake, and we need to capitalize on this. Their miners are being shipped elsewhere.
Unfortunately, our senators are not the ones that get listened to for the most part.
Right.
There's some that have some power and will, but
yeah,
not coming to a government near you. I mean, it's obvious, paper trails. That's a forced economy, which means it's not a free market. If I have to spend my money or it's going to run out, then that means they're forcing me to spend this money. I can't save. I can't pass it on to my children. I can't do any of that stuff. It is nuts, man. this is why we Bitcoin. Right?
I had the conversation with a friend. He was like, "Oh, how are you doing? If I would have bought Bitcoin last year when you told me, I could have paid off my house by now." And I'm like, "Listen, man, you're going to say the same thing in a year or two from now."
Yeah.
And we were talking about things, and I was like, why is it that when you go to a bank and you want to take out more than 10 grand, they basically have the FBI there with you?
Right.
And his eyeballs were just like out of his head. He was like, "Really?" He's like, "That's crazy, but it's your money." I was like, "Well, you think it's your money."
Right. If he listens to this show long enough, he's going to not care about buying the house and hold that thing even if he's sleeping in the Honda.
Exactly. He's going to want to leverage the house to buy more coin.
Absolutely. So,
and I think knowing him, he has a double unit. He has a ton of equity. He could do that. I'm gonna send him some links.
That's your game for sure. I don't know nothing about that trading and leveraging stuff. I just stay home with stack sats.
No, just the like a refi or a loan against your house.
It's smart if it makes sense. We've talked about it. Yeah, Numbers make everything make sense if you can line it up. So I got it, but I don't know anything about that, so I won't even dip my feet in that.
Yeah.
All I can do is just stay home on stack sats. Yeah. Sure, I got some stuff I can leverage, but to me, it doesn't trade off well to me. Like I'm gonna put myself kind of like knee deep in water for no reason because I'm not staying humble and just taking things easy because we're early. And a lot of people think we're not early, and it's dangerous. Plus,
the price is $35,000. And we're still, quote unquote, early. You know what I mean?
And we saw what this thing can do.
People are saying this is pre-internet. Internet's just building up.
I've said it a few times.
AOL, right?
The connection. Yep. That shit on the phone. That's where we are right now. Yeah. It's incredible, man. But at the same time, because those miners are leaving, that's what we were talking about.
Difficulty.
The difficulty adjustment dropped. Estimated 25% last time I checked.
That's what I'm seeing. 25%.
That's a rough number, guys. Estimation is a key word here.
So if you're a miner now and you're online and you're going to be online consistently, does that mean overall it's going to be 25% less difficult and more profitable because you're going to be getting through blocks faster?
Not necessarily through block faster. Sure, yeah, because there's less hash in the system, so you're getting more share of that hash, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And please, miners, reach out to me if I'm wrong on that. The Tarantula is probably listening right now. He's about to jump on me in the DMs. But I think as you get more of the hash,
more
naturally,
reward.
So you get more of a reward.
Beautiful.
But I can't say it's because of the block, because there's certain pools that don't give you block rewards. They just give you a hashing per pay. So it depends where you're at. I think the smaller miners like me have their best bet in slush pool. Yeah. I like the V2 Stratum for slush pool, and I think they're ahead of the game when it comes to that. But for the normal guy, I think it gives us the opportunity to be able to get more for our hash.
I've been noticing the last 2 weeks, both of my rigs are going up like 5, 10K sats a day.
Oh yeah, that's the. Well, it depends on difficulty and price.
Gotcha.
Right? So when the price drops, you get less, but when the price goes up, you naturally get more because there's more to give out, I guess.
Gotcha.
But the hash is big and important in that. But I've tried both type of pools. I've tried like the pay per share. I've tried pooling. I'll be honest here, whatever. I think they're a FPPS, and it basically just gives me a faucet of sats all day, and depending on the price, I basically at the end of the day get about the same, right? Like so. If somebody's getting 20,000 sats a day, the difference is in slush pool is whenever they find the block, I get a bigger piece. So I could blow past that 20,000 sats a day.
It's like a bonus.
Right, that 20,000 sats a day and take the gamble. And if I only land an average of maybe 3 or 4 blocks, I done already made what I would have made on a full day over there anyways.
Yeah.
So you take that higher end risk because I'm a smaller miner.
Gotcha.
Bigger miners, such as yourself and stuff, you can kind of sit back and just watch the slow stream of sats coming in, unless you want to represent slush, which I think you should, and V2 Stratum is important for your connection and all that stuff.
Trying to convert me here.
Yeah, well, not really, because you don't have the possession of the miner, so it may not be as important to you. You just want your payout. But the higher you could just sit back and get consistent sets and rely on this big difficulty drop and not worry about the volatility on slush pool.
Gotcha.
But smaller miners, because the S9 is kind of reaching the end of its life and needs to, then I say you got to go big or go home. You got to take that big risk.
How long have the S9s been around?
2018, I believe.
Okay. Gotcha. I thought they were older than that.
Maybe they are. Once again, miners reach out to me. I think it's 2018, and they said that they would only last 2 years, and we're going on, 4 years now?
Yeah.
So they're still kicking ass. As the price goes up, they'll be more profitable. But as we know, electricity, where you're at, all those things matter. Listen, if you can get a very low electricity with an S9, you're going to make money.
Yeah.
Here,
or if you have solar panels.
Yeah, right. Like offset your electricity. You can make it whatever. But other than that, you probably just got to pony up for a bigger one and try to get the offset and hashing and make more money that way. But either way, we've talked about it before, DCA through.
How much do we need to set up a farm, bro?
I listen. I don't think it's much money, man. I don't think it's much money. Honestly,
You need a garage or a shed.
Oh, like a big farm or a smaller farm?
Just like, I mean, there are YouTubers who, they have like a rig in their garage. They'll have a rig in their shed.
I say a really dope one would be like 50 to 100K. And that's including the miners and everything. Right. So you get a few What's miners at 7K or something like that. You know, depending. Now when the price is low, you get the miners for cheaper. It's a good time to get the miners. Yeah. I've seen S9s go for 350. And I think I paid double that when the price was up at 50K or whatever. So now's a good time to get a miner. But say you get What's miners at 7K. Say you buy 4 or 5 of them. What's that? I'm sorry, is that 35K right there?
Yeah, 35.
Yeah, 35K right there. So, 15 on supplies, wires. You don't need 15 on supplies, but to might kind of make the space insulated, protected, whatever. And you probably have enough money to buy another miner if you really want to.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much at all, man. Probably a few modems here and there because you're going to need that Ethernet connection going through to it. I don't think it takes much, but like a big farm, like if you actually have like a small little warehouse, 150K. Yeah, easy. And you can make that back, as we know, pretty fast.
Right.
And even if you don't make it on just hodling and finding other ways, you're going to make it off just flipping some of the coin.
And then you can rent out some of the space for hosting.
Sure.
And then you
make money that way. Yeah, it's great.
So we got a business plan here?
We got a business plan here that's already been done. But yeah, I would argue the trouble for us here in the Northeast would be, sourcing electricity that's worth the person even paying for it.
Yeah.
But that would come with education too, right? So if we educate somebody on the reason that they could DCA through, right? Mm-hmm. If we could, convince them not convince them, but actually show them the trade-off that I'm making, which you mine at a loss because this is greater than just, basically buying sats or whatever.
And it's a short-term loss too. Because when Bitcoin goes up 50, 100%, you're no longer at a loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the loss isn't that great.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, in the 30s, the miners, even though I've been profiting at a loss, have been able to bring me in a lot of sets. And imagine when those 30s go into the 40s, into the 50s.
Absolutely.
It grows out. But to me, it's just an accumulation game.
Absolutely.
So I'm just trying to get it wherever I got. If I got to trade dirty fiat, which is what I do often anyways, fantastic. Hey, electric company, please take this because you don't know what you've given me. You've given me the way out. Yeah. So it's an accumulation game for me. If it ever goes to 50, if it goes to 13, if it goes to 3, you already know where we're at. Yeah, we're just going to get as much of it as possible because we know the end game to this. And it doesn't end, in my opinion at least, it doesn't end on a fiat dollar end, which is the $10 trillion coin or whatever like that. It doesn't end in that. To me, it ends as the dollar doesn't exist. So now you have D-coin, right? D-Bitcoin forever.
Where everything's measured in sats.
Exactly. So if we want to talk about like the gold, right, being the first layer of that thing, we have Bitcoin forever. So we have TCP IP before the internet. Like we have a possession of that. We own that. I'm not giving that up. Why would I give that up? Right. It makes no sense. Everything else that gets built from here on out, I have a piece of, and I grow with it. It doesn't end with a $10 trillion coin. Will that make our life cool and more comfortable? Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you. Life is good and comfortable.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is why I think there's no second. Like I think people that don't have that comfort in life second guess when they have to buy coin. Right? It's like, oh man, but I could pay for this, or I could pay for that, or I could that struggle happens a lot. And I think for me, it's easy to just pull out my phone right now and just buy more. Yeah. Because to me, life is comfortable even if I have to cut back a little bit. Yeah. I'm happy, I'm content. There's a lot of people out there that are not, and they don't have the information to back up why they're kind of like shaky about. Well, Ben and Jose said that I should buy this, but I need gas, man. I'm trying to go to Providence tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Or some J's or some Yeezys or
sure.
A chain.
But if you would have realized that you can own the internet before the internet.
Again, it comes down to education, man.
I hate that analogy, by the way. The internet's cool, but
no, it is. I mean, there's nothing like
exactly. Yeah, we're trying to use vague stuff, but this is just bigger than anything that's ever happened.
And I think when people say the internet, they mean it from a technological standpoint, where it's like back then. They were saying, oh, you're going to book travel and you're going to do all this stuff on the internet. And people were they weren't even text messaging, right? Right. It was just everything was landline.
That's true.
So what are you talking about? I'm going to carry a device and I'm going to have Expedia. So like that, the way people didn't understand the future of the internet is the same way they really don't understand game theory and Bitcoin, where Bitcoin's going to take over everything. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you have a piece
and you
of
just sound crazy and I sound crazy, right? And that's just is what it is. But when people get educated, they start to see it. Yeah. And every few weeks we're seeing more and more, news that are like, oh, hey, El Salvador has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. All of South America will likely do the same thing in the next 2 years. right? And then software companies will continue to dollar cost average into Bitcoin. And then Walmart will start, you know what I mean? Like, we're watching this whole thing unfold day by day, week by week. And
I don't want them fuckers to have it. Yeah, I don't give a shit about price, dude.
Yeah.
Stop buying at Walmart. Why do you want it? Fuck out of here, man. There's so many other people that need it. But yes, inevitably, this is where we're headed.
Yeah.
It's a big reason to have it now. But to me, it's not even about those people buying in. It's the innovations we haven't seen on Bitcoin yet. Layer 3, these things. Lightning is early right now, man.
I was talking with my barber, and he was talking about XRP being kind of like peer-to-peer and like instantaneous.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, man, have you heard of Lightning and the Strike app? And it's like, this is Bitcoin Layer 2. So Bitcoin Layer 1 is top-notch security. You can't crack it.
Yeah.
And Layer 2 is I'm fast as lightning.
I think it's...
So, like, in my opinion, I don't need anything else.
I think it's in a good way scary how early Lightning is. Holy bananas. We have seen nothing yet with Lightning.
I hinted to it, and I'm like, this is just the beginning. Like, what does Layer 2 look like? What does Layer 3?
Before debit cards?
Checks.
Was that Layer 2?
Used to pull up. Yeah, that's Layer 2 outside of money.
If I were to give a rough analogy, Lightning is at checks right now.
Yeah.
And you know how slow checks are right now. Lightning is something of a different breed. Tip for the listeners, for you, I don't know if I've told you this, tip for anybody, grab your Strike app. Everybody has different fees or whatever. If you're going to dollar cost average, just say you're going to buy $50, $100. You can buy whatever you want. But say you're going to buy $50 to $100. Load it up to Strike. Get yourself a Mun wallet or any other type of Lightning wallet. Load up Strike with cash and send to your Lightning address and be blown away by how low the fees are.
Gotcha.
Be blown away. Let's mock one up. And these are rough numbers. So I was sent $75 the other day. Mm-hmm. I send it from Strike to Mun. I paid 6 cents as a fee to get all them sats converted into a Lightning wallet.
Fire.
Went over to CashApp. I mocked it. I didn't buy it again. I mocked $75. Yeah. They were taking $2.40. I paid 6 cents to get Bitcoin as a fee, as a transfer fee on Lightning. I was going to pay CashApp $2.40 or whatever as a fee, which I still think for the convenience of that CashApp.
I paid a $30 fee today.
On CashApp?
Mm-hmm. 2 bands. $2,000. But see, to me, I'm just like...
Convenience.
I
wish we would have had this conversation before. You would have paid... I'm guessing here, you would have paid $2. Yeah.
Probably $2.
Maybe $2. I was going to say 75 cents. It is freaking insane.
How do you spell that wallet? M-U-N?
M-U-U-N. Two U's and N.
That's an app?
It's an awesome wallet. Wallet. They hold you. They do this very clever thing where they give you like an emergency kit for your safety words and stuff like that, and they allow you to encrypt stuff. Awesome company, really cool, and they're back and forth Bitcoin on chain and Lightning, so you could tell it. So before I was getting played because I was going from Strike to a Bitcoin address, and I was still paying lower fees, but in that same $2.40, I maybe would have paid $1.80 on Strike. So I'm like, it's better, but damn.
Yeah.
The Lightning.
So you load up that app. Mud wallet?
No, you load up Strike.
You load up Strike. Yep. But at first you have to have that other wallet established, right?
Sure, yeah. You got to be able to get to it. Yeah. Or any other Lightning wallet, by the way. Okay. Remember, this is protocol cross to cross. This isn't about the app. It's about the protocol.
Gotcha.
So I use Mun. But you can use Mun.
What if I have Blue Wallet?
Blue Wallet has a Lightning wallet. Okay. As long as it can accept Lightning QR codes, you can do it there. The Lightning Network fees don't change per app. They change per use, right? So it is it's scary to see.
I'm going to give that a shot today.
I saw somebody pay 6 cents for, I think it was like $170 or something like that. And I was like, fuck. And then I tried it and I paid the 6 cents too for less, but I was still cool with that. I was So I mocked it up and I think it was like a difference in 3,000. And that $75 example was 3,500 sats that I would have lost.
Yeah.
That I was able to get just by doing that. Fact, this is weird. I hope Strike figures this out. I'm sure they're getting hammered on their customer service for it. Everybody seems to have a different threshold for how much you can load Strike up with. I've had people call me and tell me, yo, I only get 200 a week.
Oh,
very strange. Right.
That's weird.
I don't think you would, off the bat, like if you don't use Strike, I don't think you would have been able to do that 2K one today.
Gotcha.
But
that's trash.
I think I've heard some people reach out to customer support and get it increased. So maybe you can get it increased. Maybe I got grandfathered in. I was very on in November, and I've always had 1,000. It's never changed for me. It's never gone down. It's never gone up.
Gotcha.
But I've always had 1,000, and then a few people that I've referred to.
That's monthly?
Weekly.
Weekly.
I think it resets weekly.
Gotcha.
And it's per like day week, right? So if I spend 80 on Tuesday, I get that 80 back next Tuesday. Not like a full reset.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope it doesn't go down. 1,000 seems to be okay with me. But I've heard people get more, and I'm sure you could just reach out. Jack Mahler runs an amazing company. Why wouldn't they up your
I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah. They told somebody close to me when they reached out that it's up to your bank. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I bought some on CashApp, and then I went to buy more on CashApp, and I know I had it in the bank, and they were like, "Nah, you can't. Your bank's saying no."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Bro, like, I got the money in the bank. What do you mean?" And so, like, in a case like that, I'd have to go over to like Swan Bitcoin or Coinbase Pro or to make that additional buy right then and there. But how inconvenient is that? Is like,
why don't you just go to Swan with that big purchase?
I'm dollar cost averaging through them.
You can still buy on the spot.
I haven't smash spotted with them yet. I got to get on there.
Yeah, I think the fees are supposed to be lower.
I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah, I think it'll be lower than Cash App for sure.
I know. I've run the numbers. They are lower. I just haven't smash bought with them.
Yeah,
so I got to get in.
Listen, you got to get in.
So here's the next part of convenience. With Swan, typically I pull them up on a browser.
Yeah.
And then they email you. You know, do they email you to log in?
I don't use Swan.
Okay, that's right. So it's not like with Cash App. You just open the app, smash buy right there. With Swan Bitcoin, you go to their website. But you have to like jump through 2 hoops. They'll send you an email login, like a special link. Then you log in from there.
It's just not convenient.
And I haven't done it from my phone yet.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
No, I just think
if they had a Swan app on Android, I'd probably be.
I'm sure it's in the works.
Yeah.
I'm
just not there already. I have to check.
I just try to chase the small fees. Dude. I think these companies are eating off of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Coinbase logged like $400 billion in profits, dude.
That's a shitcoin company. So, but either way, I try to chase them. This Lightning thing is legit.
Yeah.
I use it to pay bills. I use it to pay even Amazon stuff. I use it to pay anything I want.
So if I grab that wallet, I can do the National Grid bill through that?
Well, the 5% back is Strike with Moon. That's like a partnership that they got. So if you send to Mun, you could send it for low fees, but it wouldn't get you a 5%. It wouldn't do any of that.
So I would use Moon.
You would use Strike to get the 5%. And with Moon.
Got it.
Right. And Moon is not an app. It is, but it's a Chrome extension.
Got it.
And they're getting better and better. Shout out to Moon. I talked to their, I believe it was their owner on a DM a little bit. And they got some really cool stuff in the works. And they also, they like expanded this. Their cards used to be like 24 hours. Now they're 60 days. You could keep them loaded. Now they got this really cool interface on the side where sometimes the extension would go away. And then the information for the virtual card would be like, oh man, like I haven't put it in yet. Now you can open the extension back up and they got this really cool UI that shows like the cards that you have on hand or whatever. Yeah, they're really growing.
I like that.
I think they're supporting Zcash. I don't know nothing about Zcash, not a single thing.
I think Zcash is... Actually, no, I'm thinking about Monero. I think it's somewhat similar to Monero where it might be privacy, but I don't know much about it.
I know nothing about it, but I know they support that to do those things, and that's pretty cool. I just think their partnership with Strike is dope, and I think the fact that I don't have to give these online retailers an actual card, I could just give them like a I called it a burner card. Like, you know, you got the burner phones, you can just use it once and toss it. That type of deal with cards on the fly.
Yeah.
Wow. And none of these companies are rejecting it. Like, I figured Amazon would be like, no, you can't. Nope. Amazon's doing it. Matter of fact, I think when you sign up with Moon, they take you straight to Amazon.com. So, yeah, but the 5% deal with Strike is dope. But then again, that's why some people are frustrated because it's like, imagine if you only have a $200 cap. How can I get this 5% all over the place if I can only use it for $200?
It's a lot of transactions.
Yeah, I don't know if that's, Strike's partner bank. I don't know, whatever it may be or whatever. But that's another, we were talking about it before the show.
Still $10 though, bro.
What?
5% on 200.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful to see it back. And you just you stack that. So immediately they give it to you back immediate. It's not like it goes and you pend. It puts it right into your Strike account. And then from there, like I said, go to a Lightning address and send them fucking sats over. And it's just a beautiful thing. But seeing Lightning work is just always mind-boggling to me. It's just like they figured this out to a T. And it's checks. It's early in Lightning.
I feel like it came out of, from my opinion, I feel like it came almost out of nowhere. I'm sure it's been a long time coming in development and everything.
2017, I believe.
Like, I don't know. When we started the podcast, we weren't talking. Were we talking about Lightning as much?
I was, but that's because I was doing the node stuff.
Yeah.
And so I did, and then we laid off.
I feel like techie people know a lot about it.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm less techie, and like it's just all hitting me now. Or has been lately.
So we're getting there to the point because I've had this podcast on Podcast 2.0 since it started. Early. So no, Lightning has just been. Yeah, you're right. I think now it's starting to get to like the gamers. It's starting to get to this new platform, the Strike, the El Salvador thing. Like, you notice that a lot of those things that are being said over there are not hey, they're making Bitcoin transactions. It's the Lightning transactions.
Yep.
That's the difference. That's how the bread maker or the piragua maker could know right away that he got his coin and there's no bullshit.
That was the same conversation I had with the barber.
Absolutely.
I was like, you know, when I pull up to the chimney truck, if it's going to take 10 minutes or longer to confirm this and I have to go, that's an issue. But with Lightning, it's going to do it instantaneously.
Well, imagine the fact that what's going on right now. Right now, that's why the difficulty is going to swing so fast. Right now, it's taking an average of 15 to 16 minutes to find a block.
I think I saw one that went for like over 20 minutes.
So my thing is that. So you're not always guaranteed that 10-minute wait, even if you are willing to wait. Even if your barber's like, oh, by the end of the haircut, it's like, all right, cool, but we can't guarantee a confirmation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't built for that, right? So,
but how many times do people go to send, like, are they writing a check that they can't cash?
What do you mean?
Like if I go to send you $100, but I only have $50 in my wallet.
Yeah. You can't.
What would it say?
You don't have enough funds.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, listen, input, output. This is actually kind of good because I was going to talk about consolidating UTXOs.
Like if whatever app I'm using right then and there, it would say that. Or even like cold storage, it would say that. So we wouldn't even need to wait for the confirmation.
And your fee is balled in.
Right.
Unless like CashApp, they cover the fee.
Yeah.
So if you have $50 and your fee to get it on the next block is, $5,
right?
You're gonna send the 45. You're not sending. They're not gonna charge you the overage, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like when you do shipping, you pay the $24 and then whatever's on top you come out of. No, it's like it needs to be within that range for you to send it.
And so fair to say that if you're a barber or whatever, and I'm going to pay you, and the transaction goes through, you see it as pending, that it's pretty much almost good as gold. Like you can kind of.
For the Bitcoin on-chain transaction?
Yeah, for the barber to assume that it says pending, but I know it's Gucci.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true because what happens is if you set a very low fee, like a 1 sat fee or something like that, the miners could keep ignoring it. And after a certain amount of time, the system rejects the transaction.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't mean that the Bitcoin gets lost. It just goes right back to you. It doesn't move, and they don't get it.
Gotcha.
So imagine your barber cut your hair. You put a 1 sat fee 3 or 4 days later, it's still not confirmed yet because the miners are like killing it with the other ones.
Right.
Then now, on the other hand, if your barber is savvy enough, now once again, this is a little complicated, to like check the mempool and be like, oh no, this 1 sat transaction is going to hit up in 3 hours or whatever. Because the mempool is low, the miners are going to pick up that 1 sat transaction. Then he could kind of have a rough idea.
Enough,
like, it's going to confirm today. It may be later, but I trust you, Ben. I got your number anyways, whatever.
I know where you live, bro.
Exactly. But the Bitcoin network, if the mine is, you could rebroadcast. So if he calls you up and says, yo, it didn't come through, bro.
Yeah.
You could rebroadcast with a higher fee and then get it pushed.
Go through faster.
Right. And they'll override the other one.
Yep.
But
pay for the VIP.
Or you could just get Lightning.
Yeah, or you get Lightning.
And get it right on the fucking fly. You're going to see it right there. It's going to be input right there. Lightning is early. It's incredible what we're going to see.
How does Lightning work?
Oh, man.
How do they do that? How do they...
Channels.
If I'm sending you 10 grand in Bitcoin right now, and it's going to get to you instantaneously through Lightning.
Are we talking small scale or big scale? Like, you talk about what Strike is doing in the background or what Jose would do in the background?
No, I guess, what Strike is doing.
What Strike is doing in the background is probably just handling books very well.
Yeah, so it's BTC to USD.
So so they have channels all over the place. They probably have the bigger channels of any network because they've been doing it for so long, right? So their channels are huge to where they have liquidity both ways, in and out.
Gotcha.
And then I bet you they hold a big pot of Bitcoin on reserve. And then when you send in your $50, their books automatically trigger some automation that says, spend that 50 into one of our Lightning channels to shoot it out.
That's right. Yeah.
And then on the other end, that's happening. Their books are good on the other end, which is like, that's what I remember early conversation. Jack Mullins was saying like, I want this to be so smooth that we're taking the tax incentive hits in the background. Like, I eat that up. Don't worry about it. We're going to figure that out through our accountants, through our books or whatever. So he's actually taking a hit. And that's why, not necessarily why Lightning is giving you cheap transactions. That's a whole different conversation. But that's why you can buy Bitcoin, because you're really just turning it into Bitcoin for so cheap because he's taking the hit on that transaction.
Gotcha.
And he's probably getting a fantastic rate wherever his source for Bitcoin is or his company's source is.
Right.
And especially if it's themselves. If we're the reserve, then we're not paying any high fees. We're just converting it on the fly and charging you maybe a low fee because we have to for books purposes. Crazy stuff is happening. But it all goes through channels. You have to have liquidity in and you have to have liquidity out, which is why you said a little while ago, techie people are into Lightning. Even techier people than me are into Lightning because the channel management is crazy if you do it on your own. It's hard to get inbound liquidity and it's pretty hard to get outbound liquidity. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But the way Lightning works in a simple way is it's a tab. So, my man, if you can't afford a $5,000 tab, we're not doing business. I'm not even sending you. You can't afford it. You don't have that liquidity to promise me that.
Right.
And that's kind of how it works. You're exchanging tabs back and forth. And whenever the tab ends, you're going to bring it to the Bitcoin network, which is the bouncer, and say, hey, I'm ready to cash in. And the Bitcoin network does the closing transaction and says, Ben settled with this, Homeboy settled with this. But what I would spread the change basically evenly because you guys have been keeping tab the whole time. And that's what Lightning does. So Lightning never has to settle. It could always stay there because there's always the opening transaction. And then it could be 12 years down the road. And then that last transaction, when we walk away from each other, all those transactions have been recorded, updated on the fly. So the very last transaction, you're not querying all the way back to see how much you spent here. It's already been updated. So you're querying the last receipt that says out of a whole Bitcoin, Jose ended up with 40 of it and Ben ended up with 60 of it. And now we're going to pay them out on chain to their addresses. It's incredible stuff, but it can stay open forever. It's a tab that can stay open for as long as the channel's open. And a lot of these companies like Fold and stuff just have big channels in the background. And they can make all this stuff happen on the fly. Like you could do the same thing with Strike. You could go buy an Amazon Fold card on Lightning and get 5% back on Fold because you use Lightning, and you could do that from the Strike app. You could just tell Strike, hey, here's the address that you're going to pay that invoice to. You're going to pay it through Strike. It's going to give you the Amazon card for $50, and you're going to get 5% back from Fold because that's what they do.
I got some National Grid bills to pay, bro.
Yeah, man.
And I got some sats to buy. I want to try that out with Lightning.
All that stuff, man. But the speed of it is settlement. The cheap fees is settlement. I was going to talk about consolidating UTXOs. I'll sum that up really quick. If you keep putting, transactions are inputs and outputs. When you go to spend the output, so say, let's use dollar term. If I were to say, hey, it costs you $100 to do that, but for every 20 you give me, there's going to be a tax for that, right? But if you give me a 400, I only tax you one time.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you keep doing a lot of $20 transactions, whenever you go to spend what you're worth, the $100, you're going to have to pay fees per UTXO, per $20 bill. So it's going to be a bigger size. You're going to pay a bigger fee. So what a lot of people are doing is and they've been doing for a long time. I've started to do this too. It's fascinating. Is consolidating UTXOs. So that's basically when the mempool is really low and you can get fees off for really low. Turn those 520s into one transaction that equals 100. And in the future, when you go and move that 100, your fees are low because you're only paying that tax one time instead of for each
multiple
20.
Transactions. Yeah.
Super smart to do. Only do it when the mempool is low because you're going to pay fees to move the 520s.
Right.
So when the mempool is low, that fee will be effortless. It'll be nothing. And then you'll pay to do that. And then later on, you're going to have the 400 because Bitcoin works as inputs and outputs. And if you sign a transaction that says, hey, I want to spend $100 worth of Bitcoin, it either grabs $100 worth. So you said you spent 2 bands earlier, right? So if you were to go and pay Jose 2 bands, they already have a UTXO on you that says, oh, it's worth 2 bands. I could just send them that one. But if you don't have that one, it's going to accumulate UTXOs to get to 2 bands.
Gotcha.
And it's going to cost you to move that chunk.
Yeah, it just becomes more of a transaction.
Yeah, it's a bigger transaction.
More processes in the transaction. More data. I think
what they say, it's a heavier transaction when it comes to megabyte size, especially if it's not native SegWit like we talked about the last time, because you're going to pay all the data information, the script information up top. It's all fascinating stuff, but I've heard people say consolidating before, and I was like, man, that seems like a pain in the butt. Like once my coin is there, I'm not trying to move that. I'm trying to leave it alone. You can do that. But just remember, if you ever were to move it for whatever reason in the future, even if it's just to move to another cold storage or another transaction, your UTXOs, how many of them you have, and when we DCA, we put 50 here, 100 here, whatever, you're going to have to pay for every single one of those UTXOs to move. But once you do it, they all turn into one, input, and then you have to spend the output.
Got it.
Fascinating stuff there. But yeah, man, all that stuff. I don't think we got any. Oh, did you want to talk about the ARK Bitcoin ETF? I don't know anything about this.
Yeah. So ARK is basically there's like ARK technology and ARK. There's a bunch of different ARK ETFs currently. And, some are tech, some are biotech, some are health, some are, all this. And it's been very popular as of lately. I think the woman's first name is Kathy.
Okay.
And she's bullish on Bitcoin. They've created an Bitcoin ETF. And, you mentioned offline that these people are playing, fiat games, right?
Sure.
People are buying GBTC to get Bitcoin exposure through a share.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're buying that through their 401k, and their 401k doesn't have any other Bitcoin option.
Sure.
So they don't want to take their 401k out completely, take a hit, and then manage it themselves. For them, it's easier just to leave it in their retirement fund because they have a day job or whatever.
Sure.
And then they buy ARK Bitcoin ETF, or they buy GBTC with it. But it's just a way for the mainstream finance markets to have access to Bitcoin. And I think simultaneously for folks like us, that just means more liquidity into Bitcoin, more Bitcoin being secured. I was talking with my friend Joey, and we were talking about how Grayscale is able to, sell the Bitcoin. And it's like they secured Bitcoin, they have it in a trust. And in the trust, it says that they can never sell their Bitcoin. And so they can offer Bitcoin shares because they have possession of that Bitcoin. And so it's just trading the stock market for the Bitcoin market for, to avoid taxation, right? It's stupid. Yeah. But it just means more purchases will be made and more people will have access to it. Game theory, everyone will have Bitcoin. Not everyone, but you know what I mean.
That'll be the first ones to go, man. You'll see. Yeah, man. You can't.
Yeah, so that's all that is.
Human greed will always trump human. I think about it in your own life. Anybody who's listening, I think about it. Human greed will always sneak. And listen, it gets to that point. These fucking guys are playing around with fire, man. I don't trust any of those motherfuckers. It does make sense that whatever, trust this, trust that. I don't trust none of y'all. Yeah, that's the funny, ironic part about the word trust. I don't trust any of you guys.
It's a trust fund.
Yeah, right. That's ironic in itself because you're telling me that I have to trust you to A, exist, B, not go anywhere, and have the best of security standards. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to trust that?
And C, that no one has political blackmail on you.
Come on, man. Yeah, I don't know. Once again,
I'm assuming their Bitcoin is in a third-party custody, though. For a trust.
I don't know, man. I don't trust any of that. And I think the only thing that would help is if they lose all their coin, then it's a sacrifice to the network. And we all get keep that leverage, I guess. But I don't play with any of those guys. I'm not informed about that stuff.
Yeah.
So I won't have an opinion on them. But to me, it's just that kind of overall trusting. You guys keep wanting me to trust you. And historically, what have you guys have done? Fiat games.
Yeah.
Untrustworthy shit.
I don't know if it... So... All right, let's say ARK or whatever Bitcoin ETF, something crazy happened like the exchange thing where the Bitcoin, they went to check the custody of the Bitcoin and the Bitcoin is gone.
Yeah.
Does the SEC and the stock market refund you? Like is your investment insured at that point? Do they, take from what the company owes to pay you out, whatever?
Yeah.
Like I wonder how that would work. I don't know.
I'll give you the easy line.
I wouldn't want to deal with that anyways.
I'll give you the easy line. Yeah. You can't insure what you can't replace.
Yeah.
Sure, insure my house, but build a new one.
Right.
What are you insuring?
Yeah.
You can't make any more.
They would give you the cash equivalent.
Come on, man. You would take that? And be cool with that? I'm not taking that. Man.
No, I'm just saying, I'll take that over nothing.
Yeah.
I'll take the cash equivalent. Give me, 35 right now. I'll take that nothing. So I could just rebuy it.
Remember, think Venezuela. So they're giving you back the mountains in the street. Don't give me that shit back. I traded this for that.
Yeah.
Don't give me that shit back. I know what you mean. If something happens, then and most of the people that are probably investing in Grayscale are probably care about the fiat anyways. To them, it's probably that mentality. Oh, well, I lost my Bitcoin. I got my money, though. Fantastic. You can't insure this. So that's ironic to even say or even promise them. I don't know if they do. I'm just assuming that it's insured and it's safe. You can't insure something that if your best tech guy has a wrong day, you can lose forever.
Yeah.
And telling me that, oh, no, it's cool because remember that bird printer over there? We're going to get some of that money and we're going to give it back to you.
Yeah.
It's trash. We're giving you bags of trash. Don't worry about it, though. You'll feel better when you see the numbers in your bank account. It'll make you feel better. No. You can't bring this back. This isn't Ethereum. You can't hit up Vitalik. They can't make any more. It's gone. And it's gone forever. And if I got it early, it's gone forever. Even if you give it back and I buy again, I don't have my stakes. I don't have my positions. Go fuck yourself, Grayscale. I don't know anything about y'all. I don't want to, because to me, anybody who doesn't advise people to protect this thing with their life, I don't care about shitcoins. You do all that stuff. That's fantastic. Have fun with that stuff. If you're not protecting this thing as a tool of freedom, as a tool to be able to protect censorship, China, all that stuff, as a tool to be able to make sure that if you need to hightail the fuck out of here with your family, you're going to hightail together with wealth. You're going to be a king over there just like you're a king over here. If you're going to try to tell me that that's just insurable, if you're trying to tell me that I should trust you with that, you're just BlockFi. You're just another one of those companies that's lying to me and telling me that this is the best thing because it's convenient. Give me a way out. A lot of these Bitcoin companies are figuring it out, which means They actually put their brains together and they actually said, there's a problem. How do we figure this out where it's a win-win? We can have a business. They can have comfort. A lot of companies, CoCard, Unchained Capital. There's a bunch of them. I don't even want that you can continue to name. Hado Hado. Shout out to Hado Hado. There's a lot of companies here that are basically saying there's a trust problem here. They shouldn't trust us because we could fuck up.
Yeah.
But we can empower them and give them the tools to be able to take trust into their own hands and assist them with it. That's the key business model. Anybody else who's doing anything in the Bitcoin space, not anywhere else, anybody who's doing anything different, somewhere along the line, they're going to breed love. Somewhere along the fucking line.
What's good with him?
I don't know. I don't follow any of those guys. I don't know. But maybe he's still pushing.
I haven't seen him on my timeline lately.
Yeah, because nobody cares. I don't know. I don't follow those guys.
Maybe I unfollowed.
I think he's the only one that's like an influencer.
Yeah.
That even though I don't unfollow, doesn't show up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I still see Parabolic, I still see Pomp stuff, and I don't follow those guys.
Yeah.
But him, I don't even see him pop up. So he either bounced or he's so far down in the algorithm right now that nobody can see him. Or he blocked everybody.
It's crazy, bro. He had Michael Saylor on for like 8 episodes.
I still remember that though, and it was like, the worst parts was him.
Yo,
100%, man.
So the worst.
Don't be nice to him.
All right. The worst parts were him, but I just feel like what Michael was talking about was so fascinating.
That's what I mean.
That like,
how did he get him there?
How did he get him there?
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know who else would have done that better. I don't know.
Oh, anybody. Jeff Booth.
Yeah.
Nick Bhatia.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go.
Those
like,
guys.
Anybody who knows money, right? Or anybody who knows where this is going.
Yeah.
And there's a few guys that know. I like Jeff Booth a lot because he was in
I do
like.
too.
He's like he saw what the tech companies did early on and how the internet changed money and changed escape.
Yeah.
And he's able to take that view onto Bitcoin and what he's seeing with Bitcoin. I really like Jeff Booth.
I listened to him with Lynn Alton and Marty Bent.
She's a gem
on the
too.
Investors Podcast.
She's a gem too.
I feel like I'm like way out of my league just listening to these guys. Trying to soak it in.
They're all really good. I like Preston's podcast. I haven't listened to it in a few weeks. I saw he had Parabolic in the last one.
He got that radio voice, man. He's made for this. He just has that like deep radio.
He got shit as they all do though for flipping some shit coins. But
did he?
I think yeah. I think he just does ads for like Kraken and stuff.
Gotcha.
And the real hardcore plebs ain't with it. He gets his bag.
Gotcha.
I still listen. Same thing with Peter McCormack. Guys that are frustrated and all this stuff. I listen for the guest.
Yeah.
I listen for the guest. Any podcast that I see pop up in my feed, I'm interested in who the guest is.
Facts.
So it's like, y'all could be mad all you want, but you're missing a lot of wisdom from a lot of people.
Thanks.
Especially the well-traveled podcasters, their Gigi. If you're not listening to anything their Gigi's on, I mean, you're not missing out on like financial stuff. You're missing out on that feeling, that conviction of this is. I was listening to one of their Gigi's articles earlier, and it was like Bitcoin in its time or something like that. I'm probably butchering that, but it's basically that like there's nothing that can stop an idea whose time has come, and Bitcoin is that. So if you want to hear more of that, which is I think the best content out there on Bitcoin is this stuff. You gotta go to their Gigi anywhere he's at, and he's a well traveled podcaster. Like this dude, he was on our podcast. He goes and he shows his love, and he's been around. He talked about it in this podcast. He's been around since Ethereum, and he actually worked on Ethereum. So these are guys that are not chasing clout.
Yeah.
That are telling me what's the famous Jay-Z line? Hov went through that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that or whatever. Like I think Joe Gigi is one of those guys where it's like he got nothing to sell you, man, besides wisdom and besides his word because he writes.
Right.
But he's not. He's here to shit post with you. He's here to have fun with you and be a maxi. Not because he lined up that way, but because he saw the other side.
Yeah.
And he saw that there was a massive problem here. And I have to believe those guys over the Mark Cubans or the fucking Elon Musk of the world.
Idiots.
Like, what the fuck is happening?
Kevin O'Leary. And
so once again, anybody who doesn't have that business model, either their persona or as a company, I'm not fucking with. Yeah. I'm not fucking with. And I still with the what I call the pirate Bitcoiners, which are the non-KYC guys. I'm still with that 1,000%. But I'm one of those guys where it's like some convenience in certain situations when explained properly are helpful. Yeah. The easiest one being, in my opinion, I haven't thought another way around this is what happens if your spouse is just not as interested as you? If you start doing this whole, wrap-the-loop KYC process, whirlpooling and all that stuff, it's fantastic. And, it's our job to educate them, which is fantastic as well. But sometimes they just don't want it. Right. And if you have safeguards in place so that your wealth can be transitioned, as long as they're Bitcoin first and Bitcoin native, and they don't hold my coins, my keys, I think it's a trustable thing.
Yeah, they're not holding your keys.
Until proven, different. I had somebody who I won't dox earlier bring up a fantastic point, though, where it's like, I won't give context either, but what happens when the hardware manufacturers say, hey, we don't take the standard anymore?
Of coin?
Of just script, right? So multi-sig is a script.
Gotcha.
Taproot's about to come. What if they say, well, listen, that stuff right there, we don't do anymore? I'm not fearful of that because historically the developers find a way to work around that. Native SegWit or whatever, or things to offer people to transition to. So you won't just lose your coin. But it's hard for me to explain what he was talking about without giving context. But it's interesting. Like, this is like a wild west out here. And a lot of these companies are innovating on the fly. And there's some things that they have not perceived yet that can possibly happen.
I mean, even back to our conversations with a certain company rejecting certain Bitcoin transactions.
BlackFi.
Based on whatever the heck they want to say.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not cool with that, bro.
Yeah, nah. Like, it's an open protocol. I love Jack Mallers' lines where this is an open monetary system. The rails on it are not to be intercepted.
Caught him on the news the other day. They were like, oh, what about the people who we say, we're not going to advise people to invest in Bitcoin because it could go to zero. And he's like, it's not going to zero. And on top of that, XYZ.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, he's going toe-to-toe with the news, man.
He must be tired of repeating himself in front of these people that are not interested in learning. It's not like they're listening to him like, oh, man.
No, they're not listening. They're just trying to portray what they want to say.
I think sometimes I've even noticed that they try to mock the kid.
Right?
Yeah,
like, that's the whole point. We're going to get the Bitcoin guy on, and we're going to say XYZ. We're going to try and make him look crazy and dumb because we want to persuade our viewers
and
to
then he
not
gives them
do
the fucking
XYZ.
uppercut.
Literally. I've watched it like 3 times.
That's realness to me, man. Hey, listen, I'm going to be real, and this is, once again, back to the money, whatever, the persona. I like that word. That's a good word. Back to that. I've seen Pompiliano on the scene. It just seems fake, man.
Yeah.
It just seems
it's a brand,
scripted, man.
It's like Macho Man Randy Savage.
And I don't got time for that in my life, man. I've been so much shit in my life, man. That I'm exhausted of that shit. Especially when it's one of those where it's like, I'm just smarter because I got money and you don't. Man, you just lying to people. Go fuck yourself. Listen, time will tell. Not conviction. You're basically a virtuous life. Your character will be your fate. You can do that and get away with it for a long time, but how you end up, it's never going to be friendly, man. It just works that way. That's just the way life works. And maybe that's philosophy for me, but that's the way it is. And it's not impressive. But then you see Jack up there.
Yeah, he's just straight.
Come on,
he's not
man.
selling anything.
Come on, man.
He's just trying to save the world.
So listen, please forgive me. I know nobody watching even cares if I could give 2 shits what these influencers have to say. Yeah. Please forgive me if I don't care that they have the people, that they're GGs of the world on their podcast, and I fast forward through their shit because I think it's the mind-numbingest thing of all time. I think it's just scripted. Down to his blog post, not blog post, his Twitter post. I was like, who typed this for you, my man? Who did you copy and paste this from? You got like your marketing guy shot you a text and say, yo, this is a good time to post this, and you copied it and pasted it in your Twitter?
He got someone doing copy for him, bro. Why you hating?
That's what I'm saying. That's what the argument back is.
He got a ghostwriter.
Are you mad because he's doing it?
He got a ghostwriter.
I'm not mad at all. But I have the right to call it out as I see fit. And he has the right to tell me I'm a piece of shit as he see fit. But to me, or that I'm a nobody as I see fit. But character is fate, in my opinion. And I think at the end of it all, if I stick to my character and I stick to my virtuous ways and I stick to what I believe in, nothing that ever happens out there is ever going to impact my ending. It sure may impact theirs. I just think we should...
It's philosophy Jose right here.
I love philosophy, but it's not that. It's that Bitcoin has allowed us to bring life back to that, to being virtuous. In the Bitcoin world and the hyper Bitcoin world, we no longer need to lie to each other to try to get one up on each other. That's the world that Bitcoin provides. The fact that if it's worth it, Ben is going to feel it's cool enough to send Jose that value worth it. He doesn't have to lie to me and bargain me on price. He's going to take it because he understands it's a fair thing, and he trusts me and respects me enough to know that I'm going to give that value right back, right? Because we're trading something that's not trash. On the other hand, you selling me a $1,000 course to try to get 3-4x up on me because I had to scrap up to get that $1,000 course, just in an example or whatever, just so you can do that and I could suffer more or have a harder of a uphill climb. That's not a fair world to me. Yeah. It's a bullshit world is what it is. And I've been in marketing, so maybe I'm a little bit tainted because I've seen it. Mm-hmm. But you have to be unethical to be on their scale at some point in some time. My argument has always been, you don't if you're just content with what you receive. Mm-hmm. But who the fuck am I? I'm just a dude in my basement shooting podcasts with his good friend. But yeah, that's my beef with them. That's why I don't follow them. Shout out to anybody who does follow them and cares about them. But those people will run with the bag as soon as they can. Yeah. They will fuck you over. They will breed love you. I love using that. Whenever they can, if it's right for them. And then a lot of people say, well, in this world, you should only look out for yourself and your family members. In this fiat world, you should only look out. But I've seen and you've seen in the Bitcoin world, and this young little community that we have, everybody helps everybody.
Facts.
Everybody. It doesn't even matter what it is. Everybody's down to help. And it's about life shit. It's not necessarily just, well, how do you get Bitcoin from here to... They'll help you with that stuff. But I've had great conversations last week. Yeah, I was able to have great dinner with Bitcoiners that I've never met in my life. Fantastic people. And that's the world where you don't have to pull the fast one on your peer to try to get one up. Yeah. Or the other human being. That's the Bitcoin world. That's the peace and love world. That's that thing that we're getting. Peaceful protest of the world. Mm-hmm. And the fiat world, though, you're going to have people trying to sell you, get quick, rich schemes and get 6-pack abs in 10 days. Those things have worked forever. Once again, I've been exposed to marketing. Headlines work. Yeah. You can pull somebody in who doesn't even think about a 6-pack, and by the end of the conversation, have them wanting a 6-pack and buy your shit. Mm-hmm. That's charlatanish because you can't guarantee a 6-pack. You and I both know a 6-pack is just work.
You know more than me, bro.
I don't have it anymore, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's work. That's the world where proof of work always shines above everything else. And in the Bitcoin world, everybody's pulling their take because let's be honest here, even if we wanted to cut a stimulus or give some free work, we can't. There isn't enough of these things to go around. Right. Well, there is because we could micro, but you know what I mean? We can't make this up. Yeah. So everybody needs to provide, everybody needs to be honest, and everybody will exchange value. And we're seeing that in the Bitcoin community. Absolutely. But the world doesn't see it yet because it's still a fiat standard. Absolutely. I want to get away from that standard so everybody can stop stabbing themselves in the back and I can stop getting stuff sold to me or get the one up on me, as people like to say. Mm-hmm. But whatever, man. The argument from the other side is, ha, boo, sucker, stay poor. Mm-hmm. Stay poor back because you have fiat. Right. So we're both poor.
Yeah, literally.
It's a mental fuck. Do your conviction, guys. That's an hour 8 in. I don't know if we got anything else difficulty. ARK, BlockFi. Fuck BlockFi. We've been kind of trending towards that anyways, but now it's official. Fuck them. If you do business with them, have fun. Sure, they could be for another 20 years. You can't change the field goal post 3-4 months in a row. You can't block transactions that are Bitcoin native, back to Jack Mallers. You can't interrupt the rails, right? You can't do any of this stuff. They seem to do it and nobody seems to care, which is very weird to me. Everybody's just cool. I've seen the comments where it's like people defending it. Like, no, well, they're still great. That's never good. Have fun. Mm-hmm. I would, if you do other coins, don't do other coins. It's the wrong thing to do. Mm-hmm. If you do other coins, maybe you can take advantage of that because they could, like we talked about a little while, they could pay you back. Right. Cool. Fantastic. Pay me back my Ethereum, whatever. Don't do that with your Bitcoin. Yeah. Listen to this podcast. Listen to other stuff. Learn how to cold storage. Multi-sig it up. Bitcoin native friendly companies do that. Everything else is pretty much a joke. And the charlatans from the previous marketing age have come into this crypto space now. Yeah. They're throwing Bitcoin footballs to the moon now. That's the last one we had there. Second L from Mr. Tom Brady. And from New England, that kind of hurts. Second L. He's probably getting paid huge amounts of money. That's why I keep bringing it up. What is this crypto thing? Yeah. I don't know what these crypto thing, but the marketers have come in and turned crypto into a flashy word. Michael Saylor, what is crypto? No, there's Bitcoin. What is this crypto thing? Bitcoin is the asset. And they get that wrong. And a lot of people are like, oh, but Bitcoin is cryptography. And yeah, but it's not crypto. That's the flashy word that the marketers build so they can sell you whatever. Football cards that are not really yours, but they say that they're really yours. Anyways, that's a whole different thing. You know how we feel about shitcoins here. Sure. You know how we feel about NFTs here and any of that other bullshit crap. On the tech side, keep innovating, guys. You'll figure it out at some point. But on what is the freedom tool, let's stop having this conversation here, guys. It's a dead one. The FUD is always the same. It never knew. They got nothing else to bring to the table. Let's forget about that stuff. That wraps up episode 26. Yes,
Right.
Guys, please rate, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the button down below so you can mess with us and get a notification every time it pops up. Check us out on all your favorite podcasting platforms. If you happen to have a Node, an Umbro, or Raspberry Blitz, any of that stuff, check us out. Stream some sats our way. If you like this value, you can give it back and forth. We appreciate you guys. Got anything for the listeners?
That's all, bro.
Cool. I'll see you guys next week. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Peace.
Later.
All the opinions expressed by Jose and Ben or any of the guests on this show are solely their opinion and their opinion alone. Their opinions do not reflect the opinions of any of the sponsors or other parties involved in the recording of this show. Do not treat any opinion expressed by Jose and Ben as a specific endorsement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy. Their expressions of their opinion on this show is purely for informational purposes.